start with state news. New York State Governor Kathy Hochul has announced signing an executive order permitting virtual court hearings to be conducted at the jail instead of risking transporting prisoners. Now, the governor green-lighted legislation permitting the transfer of over 100 inmates from city-run Rikers to state facilities aimed at creating more space within the 6,000-person lockup amidst reports of escalating violence, deteriorating living conditions, and severe staffing shortages. Earlier last month, Governor Hochul signed a bill into law allowing the early release of individuals behind bars because of technical parole violations. Now, although the new law does not take effect until early 2022, the governor said the expedited move was necessary to help alleviate overcrowding issues. In other news, the New York City Small Business Services continues to work with about 70% of Bronx businesses impacted by flooding from Hurricane Ida. Our BronxNet reporter Arlene Makoko was on the streets. She brings us this story right now.
Following her.
Meet Bernadette Nation, Executive Director of Small Business Services, Emergency Response and Intergovernmental Services, working on the ground here at the 161st Street Business Improvement District near Jerome Avenue, weeks after Hurricane Ida swept through the tri-state area, causing catastrophic flooding.
Probably a secondhand furniture store.
Really?
My staff are there right now.
Out of about 600 businesses affected citywide, with the majority in Brooklyn and Queens, about 70 cases are in the Bronx, which include one in this community that lost $80,000 in merchandise after a basement flooded. Nation shared their work begins with assessing the level of damage by placing the businesses in one of two categories.
Minimal impact dealt with less than a foot of water in their commercial space. That critical impact was more than a foot of water in their basements or in their ground level space, and that would ruin their perishables, their equipment such as freezers and ovens and electrical equipment like computers if they have their office in the basement.
Then it's about connecting the business owners with resources available. Meanwhile, on Kingsbridge Road, this barbershop manager showed they did okay, sharing the 1 to 2 inches of water was so minimal there was no impact. Next door at New Capitol Restaurant, though, where on a rainy day their takeout service increases, everything came to a standstill.
We had to stop all deliveries because it was just too crazy outside. It was the rain was nonstop, it was heavy, and it was just too much for someone to go out in that weather.
Nation says businesses with questions can dial 311 and ask for small business services or go to nyc.gov/SBS. For damage to residential property, you can call FEMA or the Federal Emergency Management Agency at 1-800-621-FEMA. For BronxNet, this is Arlene Makoko.
And thank you, Arlene. That's all the time we have for our Bronx updates, but we're not out of show. We encourage you to stay with us. Coming up after the break, Open will continue right after this.